Hey everyone, I appreciate you taking the time out to join us for this webinar on winning the bid for sustainable infrastructure. My name's Mike Kane. I'm a technical consultant within VinZero, and on this webinar with me, I have Dr. Dorota Bakal, who's our sustainability and innovation lead within VinZero. I've spent over 20 years working in the technology sector in a range of roles. During this time, I've been fortunate to work with a variety of companies in different verticals, assisting them with implementing technology solutions to make them more efficient, achieve their goals, and ultimately make their businesses more profitable. Dot, on the other hand, brings years of experience in emissions reduction and renewable energy. She helps our customers design and build with sustainability in mind and solve the net zero challenges that they face. We do invite you to use the Q&A function within this Zoom meeting throughout the webinar to ask questions. We'll try and reply to all of the questions at the end of the presentation. We really wish we could be meeting you in person today, but we wanted to include as many people as we can. And it seems like the virtual approach was the best approach. That said, if you wish to continue conversations and explore the topics in more detail, shoot an email to us following the webinar, and we can always catch up later, whether this is virtually or in person. We have a lot of people joining us from all around Australia and New Zealand, which is exciting. Dot and I are both based in the inner west of Sydney. We have the privilege to live, work and operate on the traditional lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I'd like to thank them and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. We here in VinZero ANZ have offices in Brisbane on the traditional lands of the Chapara clan, in Melbourne on the lands of the Wiradjuri Woi Wurrung and Bunurong Boon Wurrung people, in Adelaide on the traditional lands of the Karuna people, and in New Zealand on the traditional lands of the Maori people. I'd like to pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging on all the lands mentioned, and I thank them for this privilege. I do want to take a minute to introduce VinZero to you. VinZero's purpose is geared towards building a better world with a focus on accelerating the adoption of digital technologies in architecture, engineering, construction, owner-operators and manufacturing organisations by supporting the urgency, momentum and demand for a more sustainable design built through to operate and maintenance practices. A lot of our clients know us as A2K Technologies. We've been operating in Australia and New Zealand for over 25 years. Around 2 years ago, we formed VinZero, which is a result of a unification of historic brands, US CAD in the United States, A2K Technologies here in Australia and New Zealand, CADline in EMEA, and Capricot in India. Together, we've created one of the world's largest Autodesk premium partners. VinZero draws from decades of building strong partnerships with our customers around the world, helping them to adopt technology, understand the role of digitization and guiding them to take transformative steps towards net zero for the built environment. As you probably have seen in the media recently, around some 4 weeks ago, VinZero's recently been acquired by Arcans. This means that we're now officially the world's largest Autodesk partner globally. We now have over 50 offices in 18 countries around the globe, supporting 32 different languages. For us, from a local level, this increases our support window and it gives us an incredible brains trust of peers working on similar projects and similar tools that we can leverage for our local delivery. It's a really exciting time for us, both locally and globally. Beyond the work that we do with our clients, assisting them to achieve their sustainability goals, we provide a range of other services. As you can see by this slide, we offer a range of different customization and client-specific services depending on your needs. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that we deliver practical and affordable solutions for your organisation based on your current and future needs. On a daily basis, we're assisting our clients on projects, training, supporting clients, and working with them as their trusted advisor across their technology stack. So what does this actually mean? Our BIM services include BIM guidance, BIM management plan authoring, BIM data validation, model auditing, ISO 19650 compliance, common data environment or CDE establishment and training. The purpose of our discovery engagements is to investigate and understand and provide recommendations about businesses or departmental workflows and processes around software tools in use and their purpose. We aim to identify recurring issues, enhance usage with the current technical environment. This includes software and supporting IT architecture. Our service supports include customer support services, system support. We do installation support. We do advanced data management support. We do advanced BIM 360 and Autodesk Construction Cloud support. We have six full-time support staff dedicated to support 5 days a week, and we currently have a 16-hour support window. Our customization and development services include things like system integration, automation and scripting, plugin and toolbar development. We work across C, Python, Dynamo, etc. We do a bunch of in-house development, but we also utilize third-party engagements. Our training services are really broad. We run a range of instructor-led trainings, what we call ILTs. This includes Revit fundamental and advanced training. We do Revit for reviewers, Revit families, Revit landscapes, Revit interiors, Revit structures, Revit for NEP, and Dynamo. We also run one-on-one custom trainings for a range of clients, depending on their skills and training requirements. Our sustainability services and strategies for businesses, the built environment and manufacturing. We're working on emissions accounting and reporting. We facilitate specific audits, energy, water, waste. We also work on certification for carbon neutral organizations and precincts, and we run sustainability workshops and instructor-led training, the Closer to Zero courses, which are virtual training, but that's Dot's area of expertise, so I'll let her cover that in a little more detail shortly. Our workflow services are all about developing smarter and faster ways of doing things. We're working with our clients to leverage full features of the software and technology to reduce rework and wasted effort. We're looking for areas to automate, and ultimately it's all around optimization. We strive to understand each stakeholder's requirements, and we look to find the right balance of effort and outcome. Lastly, our data management and cloud services include data science and artificial intelligence, or AI, data mining, machine learning, anomaly detection, fault detection, predictive maintenance, and even OCR, or optical character recognition, bit of a mouthful. As well as CAD data management, process automation and robotics, waste reduction methods, enterprise system implementation and management, across ERPs, CRMs, ECMs, and cloud services, including Google, Amazon, and Azure. Anyway, enough about us. Dot, let's talk about sustainability in construction.
Thank you very much, Mike. And just like Mike mentioned, we do have a really great privilege of working with businesses in the built environment and manufacturing sectors, but we do also recognize the impact that those sectors have on our planet and our people. As you can see on the slide, roughly a third of the global greenhouse gas emissions are generated as a consequence of our activities, and we do use a similar amount percentage-wise of the global energy supply. Now, bad news, in Australia, the National Waste Report shows that the construction and demolition waste accounts for nearly 40% of all waste that enters the waste stream. And that's already bad news for us, isn't it? Now, on average, in Australia, we have a 60% recycling rate of waste, but that's really not an excuse. It still means that the raw materials are being wasted. We pay for waste disposal, and we are not putting the raw materials back to work. Our impact goes far beyond the global warming and waste. The lack of circularity in our value chains pushes us to dig more and dig deeper, further impacting our ecosystems and people living on this planet. And I guess the relatively slow adoption of digitalization, the smart technologies and smart solutions creates those operational inefficiencies, waste, data loss, and missed opportunities to reduce, recycle, and reuse. So what do we do about it? Now, globally, as a sector, we have committed to reducing our emissions and achieving net zero by 2050. Now, this is really no different to any other sectors, but it is a significant commitment from our industry leaders, government, and NGOs that work in our sector. So it is important for us to understand what does this mean to us. So to get on the right pathway, the net zero pathway, by 2030, all our new projects must have at least 40% less embodied carbon and operate at net zero. We have 7 years to achieve this, so the time is really running out. By 2050, all new builds must have net zero embodied carbon, and all builds must operate at net zero. This might sound like a next generation problem, but it will not happen without strong action and collaboration across the entire value chain right now. I guess I'm sure many of you know that already, but for those who don't, when we talk emissions in the built environment, we distinguish two different types of emissions: the embodied emissions, or embodied carbon, as we call it to confuse everyone, and the operational emissions, or operational carbon. Now, the embodied carbon, or embodied emissions, are mostly generated to produce and process the construction materials such as steel, concrete, gravel, and so on. So every piece of materials that is used by construction industry had to be extracted from the ground, processed, stored, and transported to your project. And all of those processes create emissions. They require electricity, heat, water, fuel, or emit fugitive emissions as a byproduct of the process. Our manufacturers will struggle a lot to reduce those emissions unless we create the demand for low carbon products and prioritize it in our designs and purchasing. Now, on the other hand, the operational emissions include things such as electricity, gas, and water, the utilities used by the assets that we build, many of which are really hard to reduce if an asset has already been constructed, or the design does not encourage the efficiency. So it is a massive challenge for asset owners and operators, investors, and tenants. So when you talk to a sustainability consultant like myself, this is how we see the life cycle of an asset, of a building. The journey obviously starts with materials extraction, processing, storing it, and transporting it to your construction site. Then you step in, the developers, contractors, and subcontractors, you step in and use it to construct the building. Now, I do also want to acknowledge here the design stage where majority of the decisions are made, but we sort of skip it in the emissions accounting methodology for the built environment. So then we move on to our operational stage. We use and operate the building, heading towards the demolition. Now, we, the sustainability people, would prefer to actually call it the deconstruction of the building to ensure that the materials that are embedded in the building are actually put back to work, and we are able to recycle and reuse them in the future. We do also give you some extra credits in the emissions accounting for the recovery of those materials and the systems put in place to recover water and energy used in the building as well. Now, if we can now all look in the top right corner of the slide, you will see a pie chart that shows the breakdown, average breakdown of emissions during the entire life cycle of a building. And this graph was prepared by the Green Building Council of Australia. Now, on this graph, you can see that the use stage and the product stage of the building accounts for the vast majority of the carbon footprint of an asset. And you might think, hang on a minute, we are not that bad, right? The construction stage is only a small amount of the total carbon footprint of an asset. But when you multiply it by the number of projects that you do, it does actually account for quite a lot, making nearly all Australian construction companies being featured on a famous top emitters list that is published by the Australian government annually. So I guess the issue in Australia is, and it's actually a global trend, that our value chain is extremely fragmented. You are often only overseeing a tiny small part of the life cycle of an asset. And this fragmentation of the industry makes it really difficult to pinpoint who is responsible to drive sustainability in our value chain and ensure the circularity of the building materials. And I really hear you. It is hard to juggle sustainability into your projects when, especially when your clients don't demand it, and all you worry about is the deadlines, budget, and your people. So I guess what we are trying to achieve with all this digitalization is to make it easy for you. Through BIM, we want to ensure that the data, including sustainability data, travels throughout the life cycle of a building and is being maintained on the way. And then the BIM model eventually becomes an instruction for deconstruction and materials recovery. Our aim is also to make sure that on the way, you design and build for precision to reduce waste. You optimize your logistics and stakeholder engagement to reduce the fuels that you use, and that you avoid wasting all other resources such as electricity. And as you can see, all of the above, all of the things mentioned also reduce your operational costs. So I think we are heading the right direction. So as a sector, we do have a massive challenge ahead if we are to achieve net zero. We are still growing. So the World Green Building Council predicts a 75% increase of the floor area of the built environment by 2050. That's the green dots and the right side of the graph. Our population is growing. So and so is the need for shelter, commercial spaces, roads, and other infrastructure. The pathway to net zero is mapped out. The operational emissions from the built environment must undergo rapid decrease, and this is both for the new and the existing assets. This means massive energy efficiency improvements, on-site renewable energy generation, absolutely no fossil fuels in the built environment, so rapid electrification, maximized water savings and reuse, efficient HVAC and refrigeration. The countdown has started, as whatever you build now will stay with us for decades. I do want to flag with you one report in case you want to explore this topic a little bit further. Now, recently, together with the World Green Building Council, we at VinZero have released a global guide for the built environment that focuses a lot on emissions and explains how to put strategies in place to reduce them. You can find there some really great case studies from around the globe on business benefits from circularity and from embedding the recycled, reused, bio-based, non-toxic, low-carbon materials in the built environment. It's basically a playbook on how the governments, manufacturers, construction companies, architects, and asset operators can embrace the circularity and circular economy in their operations and make sure that it becomes business as usual. So I put the QR code here on the slide for you if you want to scan it, but I will also post the link to this report later on in the chat. The bigger picture, that's what we are talking about now. So when we talk sustainability, it's obviously not only emissions. Emissions are an important part of it, but it's not everything. A successful business is one that embraces environmental, social, and economic sustainability in its everyday operations. So for a business to be sustainable and to operate indefinitely, we of course need to make sure that it makes profit. Nobody would run a business that brings losses year on year. And in a minute, Mike will talk about how the Autodesk Construction Cloud can assist you in managing the cost of your construction. In the sustainability lens, we apply exactly the same thinking to the environmental aspect and the social aspects of your operation, of your operations. And as an example, as a business, you cannot use and dispose people because you will run out of people that you can hire. So you need to take care of the well-being and safety of your operations and ensure good working environment to retain your workforce. Building on that, we also cannot keep digging raw materials from the ground and dispose of it to the landfill when we don't need it anymore, because we will run out of those materials. So we need to make sure that we only use as much as needed, building for precision, and that we are able to recover those materials at the end of its lifetime. So I guess that's all for me for now. Mike, I'll hand over back to you to talk about managing sustainability in the Autodesk Construction Cloud, focusing on people, planet, and profit.
Thanks, Dot. For those of you that haven't had the opportunity to look at the platform, I think it's important that I give you a quick overview of what Autodesk Construction Cloud is. So Autodesk Construction Cloud connects data, workflows, and teams throughout the entire building lifecycle. So from the very early stages of design through to the operation and maintenance phases of your projects, for both your office and your site teams in real time. It's the only platform that does truly go from design to pre-construction, construction, and then the operation and maintenance phase of your assets. So now that we've looked at what Autodesk Construction Cloud is, let's talk about how this platform can assist you to meet your sustainability goals, which is really why we're here. Autodesk Construction Cloud, or ACC as it's known, provides a collaborative platform across the entire construction pipeline, as I mentioned. It truly does go from design to pre-construction, construction, and then the operation and maintenance phases of your assets. Each one of these phases can have a significant impact on assisting companies to meet and exceed their sustainability goals. The key areas of this are your collaboration through safety, quality, analysis, cost, and scheduling. Today, I'm going to talk about what we believe are some of the key areas within each of these points above and how we can significantly positively impact, make a positive impact on sustainability in construction. So firstly, collaboration. So collaboration is really about ensuring that the right information is in the hands of the correct stakeholders, keeping project teams in sync and on track. So we're controlling the flow of information with robust access and permissioning tools. By doing so, we're reducing risk, ensuring that not only are people working from the latest designs and document sets, but we're also ensuring that only the right information is in the hands of the necessary people. We can control the sharing of documents. We're sharing with other members of the project. We're sharing data between projects, both internally and externally, and also sharing outside the environment. We're also creating uniform folder structures across all of our projects, and the system is fully ISO 19650 or supports ISO 19650, which is important for those companies that have or are undertaking that journey in the future. Document versioning, the system automatically keeps everyone on the same page with version control. We're instantly distributing the latest drawings, models, or documents from the office to the field teams, all while retaining full access to all versions. We can even use the comparison tools on 3D models and 2D designs to quickly identify changes to assist us to understand the design intent, reduce the amount of rework, enabling us to stick to our schedules and maximizing the profits on the project. This also greatly helps to ensure that a large amount of materials aren't leaving site to be put in landfill as a result of rework. Document approvals are all about facilitating, controlling, and automating the review and distribution of project drawings, models, and other documents. We're customizing and automating the review and distribution of project drawings, models, and other documents. We're also collaborating with tools to review and comment on documents. We're uploading and sharing project files to the project team and all key stakeholders to reduce the amount of material that we're throwing into landfill as a result of unnecessary variations. So safety planning ensures or enables you to avoid those typical safety blind spots by creating and executing standardized safety plans for your projects. We're communicating safety standards between the office and the field and all other stakeholders seamlessly and in real time. We're also capturing the root cause of safety incidents to proactively ensure that they don't happen again. Safety measures and practices prioritize the well-being of construction workers by providing a safe and healthy work environment. This promotes employee retention, it reduces turnover rates, and fosters a skilled and experienced workforce. A stable and skilled workforce leads to increased productivity, improved project efficiency, and overall sustainability in the construction industry. By utilizing mobile devices, We're logging issues or incidents on site and managing project safety performance. We're then logging the root cause, which can help us to identify trends and resolve common safety issues going forward. Safety measures aim to prevent accidents and injuries and fatalities in construction sites. By implementing comprehensive safety protocols, construction companies can minimize the occurrence of accidents, which not only saves lives, but it also reduces the associated financial and legal consequences. Avoiding safety accidents and injuries leads to uninterrupted project progress. It prevents delays and it maintains productivity levels, thereby contributing to sustainable construction practices. It also protects your people, which is the most important thing. Safety practices also involve the proper handling, storage, and disposal of materials, chemicals, and waste. By following safety guidelines, construction projects can minimize resource wastage and reduce environmental pollution. For example, appropriate storage and handling of hazardous substances prevents leaks or spills that could contaminate soil or water sources. Responsible waste management practices, including recycling and safe disposal, contribute to sustainability by minimizing the environmental impact of construction activities. Safety measures often align with energy efficiency and sustainable construction practices. For instance, safety protocols may include installation of adequate lighting, which can be optimized with energy efficient technologies, things like LED bulbs. Additional safety measures may require proper insulation, ventilation, temperature control, which contribute to energy efficient and reduce the environmental footprint of the buildings. By integrating safety and sustainable consideration, construction projects can achieve a more holistic and environmentally responsible approach. Safety practices in construction help identify and mitigate potential safety risks and hazards. This includes conducting risk assessments, implementing safety plans, and providing proper training to workers. By addressing risks proactively, construction projects can prevent accidents, injuries, and property damage. This in turn avoids costly project delays, financial losses, and reputational damage. By minimizing risk, safety practices support the long-term viability and sustainability of construction projects. So quality planning in construction is essential to achieve sustainability goals. By ensuring the project is completed with the desired level of quality, rework and mistakes are minimized, which reduces the amount of waste and conserves resources. A comprehensive quality plan can identify potential sustainability issues early on, such as inefficient use of energy or non-compliance with environmental regulations, allowing for prompt corrective action to be taken. Proactive planning can also prioritize the use of sustainable materials and technologies, reducing the environmental impact of the project. By incorporating sustainability into the quality planning process through Autodesk Construction Cloud, construction companies can not only achieve their sustainability goals, but also improve the overall quality and longevity of their project, resulting in long-term cost savings and improved environmental outcomes. So we're minimizing rework and mistakes with proactive quality planning. We're leveraging standardized checklist templates to support proactive quality management approaches. We can create quality checklists from scratch, or we can import existing PDFs from your current forms and digitize them on site. We can then leverage automatic issue creation for non-conforming checklist items. We also have the ability to measure and track quality through reports and real-time visualization dashboards. In regards to QA and QC, it's really about resolving issues faster and reducing rework with digital checklists. This is reducing the amount of waste on site, which enables you to work to your original schedule and ultimately maximizing the profit from your project. We're logging our issues and assigning owners for faster issue resolution. From there, we have the ability to track the status of assigned issues through to final inspection. We're also adding photos, comments, and a whole range of reference material to identify and resolve common problems, or really any issue. In design, high quality construction materials and techniques result in more durable and longer lasting structures. When building an infrastructure have a longer lifespan, it reduces the need for frequent repairs, for renos and reconstruction. This minimizes the consumption of resources, energy and materials over time, making the construction process more sustainable. Quality construction practices consider energy efficiency at various levels, including insulation, HVAC systems, lighting, overall building design. Well-insulated buildings can, with efficient heating, cooling and lighting systems, reduce energy consumption and the associated greenhouse gas emissions. By implementing energy efficient measures, quality construction contributes to sustainability by conserving resources and minimizing the environmental impact. Overall quality construction practices play a vital role in enhancing sustainability in construction industry by focusing on durability, energy efficiency, waste reduction, indoor environmental quality, and life cycle assessment. Construction projects can contribute to a more sustainable built environment. So effective scheduling in construction can have a positive impact on sustainability. By carefully planning and sequencing construction activities, the project timeline can be optimized, reducing the overall duration and minimizing the use of resources such as energy, water, and raw material. Scheduling can also enable the use of prefabricated or pre-manufactured components, which can reduce waste, transportation emissions, and even on-site construction time. Furthermore, scheduling can prioritize the use of sustainable construction practices and materials, such as renewable energies, energy efficient building materials, and low carbon materials. By integrating sustainable considerations into the scheduling process, construction companies can reduce the environmental impact of their projects while delivering them efficiently and effectively. We're gaining real-time visibility into project schedules by creating schedules in the cloud, allowing teams to collaborate, connect, and interface with each other with the most up-to-date information. We're improving collaboration and increasing transparency by centralizing all the schedule information on a single cloud-based platform. When teams rely heavily on paper printouts and static PDFs, miscommunication and misalignment around schedules can often result. With a centralized schedule ecosystem, project team members have access to the latest schedule information with robust permission controls. You can also ensure that the right information stays in the right hands. We're improving communication across team members to avoid unexpected schedule delays by managing all schedule activities in the cloud. Having connected cost management across the entire construction pipeline improves cost control. It enables us to gain real-time visibility of cost-related risk and forecast accuracy by centralizing all cost activities in the cloud and within the context of the project. When we look at efficient resource allocation, cost management encourages the efficient allocation of resources, including materials, energy, and labor. By carefully monitoring and optimizing costs, construction projects can reduce waste and avoid unnecessary resource consumption, leading to improved sustainability. For example, minimize material waste through proper inventory management and recycling practices can reduce the environmental impact of construction projects. There are life cycle cost considerations that we need to be factoring in. Effective cost management involves considering the entire life cycle cost of the construction project rather than just the initial investment. This approach encourages the selection of sustainable materials and systems that may have a higher upfront cost, but deliver long-term benefits such as reduced energy consumption, maintenance costs, and environmental impact. Considering life cycle costs helps in making informed decisions that prioritize sustainability over short-term financial gains. Energy consumption is a single aspect of sustainability in construction. Cost management techniques such as energy audits and life cycle cost analysis enables the identification of energy efficient solutions. By investing in energy efficient technologies and incorporating sustainable design principles, construction projects can reduce operational costs and minimize the environmental footprint that's associated with energy consumption. Effective cost management can also facilitate the adoption of renewable energy systems in construction projects. While renewable energy technologies may have higher upfront costs, efficient cost management involves evaluating those long-term financial benefits. By leveraging renewable energy sources such as solar panels and geothermal systems, construction projects can reduce the reliance on fossil fuels, lowering operating costs and decreasing greenhouse gas emissions. So data analytics through ACC reports and dashboards, combined with the onboard use of artificial intelligence or AI, can assist with sustainable construction by providing real-time insights and warnings. By leveraging data across the entire construction pipeline, AI algorithms can identify patterns and detect anomalies. ACC reports and dashboards can provide stakeholders with easily digestible information on key performance metrics. Together, data analytics and AI can help construction companies achieve their sustainability goals by enhancing the environmental performance of their projects and reducing their overall impact on the planet. Dashboards and reports enhance sustainable construction by enabling data-driven decision-making, monitoring performance, promoting transparency, and facilitating benchmarking, supporting issue detection, and fostering stakeholder engagements. Performance monitoring dashboards and reports allow stakeholders to monitor the key sustainability indicators and track progress over time. By visualizing and analyzing data, construction teams can access their performance against their sustainability goals and benchmarks. Regular monitoring helps to also identify trends, spot inefficiencies, and address deviations properly. This proactive approach enables timely intervention and corrective action to enhance sustainability performance throughout the project lifecycle. Dashboards and reports also enable early detection of sustainable related issues or anomalies. By monitoring data in real time, deviations from expected performance can be identified promptly. For example, if energy consumption spikes unexpectedly, it may indicate equipment malfunction or inefficient practices. Early detection allows for timely investigation and remediation, preventing further resource waste, environmental impact, and potential safety hazards. Dashboards and reports facilitate effective communication and engagement with stakeholders, including project teams, clients, investors, and communities. By sharing sustainability metrics and performance data, construction companies can involve stakeholders in the decision-making process, encouraging collaborative efforts towards sustainable practice. Engaging stakeholders through dashboards and reports fosters a sense of ownership and encourages participants in sustainability initiatives, leading to a more sustainable construction industry as a whole. Dashboards and reports also enhance transparency by providing stakeholders with a clear overview of the project's sustainability performance. By sharing this information with clients, investors, regulatory bodies, and the public, construction companies can demonstrate their commitment to sustainability and hold themselves accountable for their environmental impact. Transparent reporting fosters trust, it encourages responsible practices, and it supports the overall sustainability objectives of the construction industry. Dot, although I did touch on it, do you want to talk a little bit more about the Closer to Zero training offerings?
Of course. Thank you, Mike, for this overview of the ACC capabilities. I think it's also important to mention that at VinZero, you also provide training on the ACC to our customers and obviously manage all the rollouts and integration of the systems, of the platform within our customers' daily operations. And I think, I think that's important because the tool itself is powerful, but it's only powerful if you know how to use it. So what do I do? You mentioned the Closer to Zero workshops. Yes, we do believe that sustainability proficiency has become an essential skill for literally every working professional of this decade. So you needed to score the beats for projects, guide the conversations with your clients, or even score your internal company's KPIs. And that really wasn't the case a few years ago. So at VinZero, I ran a series of workshops that can help you quickly upskill in this field and understand all the need-to-knows for sustainability, emissions accounting, and renewables. So we start this journey by understanding the fundamentals of sustainability, introduce basic definitions. We talk about the business risks and opportunities and the global trends in the sustainability space. From there, we move on to a little bit more advanced topics. We talk about emissions accounting, so what counts, what doesn't, and this is for you to prepare and understand the reporting of emissions, whether that's for your business or for your projects. We also talk quite a lot about renewable energy, and it is a separate topic for our webinars. And I guess the reason for this one is that electricity and energy use are usually the main sort of source of emissions, or the major source of emissions for a majority of businesses. Finally, during the sustainability masterclass, we zoom out a little bit and we talk about the bigger picture of sustainability. We talk about the sustainability strategy, so how to embed it into your organizations, but also how to leverage the sustainability strategy of your customers to guide those conversation and make sure that topics that you include in your proposals actually address the business needs of your clients as well. Those workshops are short and sweet. There are 2 or 3 hours, depending on which one it is. So they are sort of relatively easy to squeeze into your busy calendars. And more than anything, they are interactive, not like this webinar. That's a little bit awkward to talk, without having any feedback from the audience. But they give you an opportunity to actually participate in the discussion, ask your questions, and apply the knowledge into your specific context and organization. There's a really nice brochure for those courses, and I will post it in the chat by the end of this webinar as well, or perhaps maybe send you all the links in a separate webinar sent to all participants. Maybe that's going to be better. So I will do that after this webinar. One thing I also wanted to mention is that we have rolled out a fabulous podcast. It's called Think Future. It's available on our website. We can include this link as well. This is a podcast that will really help you stay up to date with all of the sustainability trends. Hear from experts working in your field, learn from other champions, learn about other sustainability products that you can embed in your construction activities. And more than anything, know what's coming, because this field is changing very rapidly. So it's hard for a sustainability person to stay on top of that, let alone a person that has 10,000 other responsibilities like yourself. So with that in mind, I'll hand over back to Mike for our Q&A session. And I do see quite a few Q&A questions already. And then we will wrap up this webinar. So on my end, I invite you to reach out and continue this conversation if sustainability is something that you want to explore in a little bit more detail.
Thanks, Dot. Yeah, so we do want to open up to questions. As Dot just said, we already have some coming through the chat, which is awesome. Please drop any questions into the chat. We will try and address all of them. If we can't get to them now, we will definitely reach out to you in line. But start at the top. So Rob has asked, how long does it typically take to roll out ACC? That's easy. That's one that I can answer. Well, actually, that's a hard one to answer, to be honest. It really depends on the complexity of your business, your projects, your objectives, and your priorities. We find, there's some very good quick wins, and this is where our discovery services really come into play, because before we start to do anything, we want to understand your business, understand your objectives, look at the ways we can drive efficiency, through your organization. So there is no typical time for a rollout. It really depends on the complexity. But Rob, I will reach out to you after this and have a chat with you, because I'd be interested in sort of exploring this a little bit further. So the next questions come through from Jenny. She's asked, our company's looking to becoming more sustainable. What would you recommend be the best course of action to start? Dot, I'll hand that one over to you if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Jenny, for this question. It's another a difficult question to ask, because there are multiple factors that come into the place when you want to start your sustainability journey. So I would like to invite you for a chat. I do need to understand the type of the business that you are in, the size of your business, and sort of understand your major activities and what would be the likely source of the majority of your emissions. And I guess from there, the next step would be to establish your goals. Where are we heading? So the sort of the end goal of the journey that you are interested in, obviously considering your ambitions, your budget, and your main objectives as well. So let's catch up one-on-one and see where that's going.
Okay, thanks, Dot. Alex has asked a great one. And this is something I get asked all the time. Is Autodesk Construction Cloud just BIM 360 rebranded? No, it's far from that. And a change in names was definitely required because it is in an entirely new platform. Basically, Autodesk, they own BIM 360, they own PlanGrid, and they had this vision for a what I'm going to say is a beast of a platform. They decided rather than try and crunch those two tools together or develop features from one into the other, it was better to start from scratch. So they've spent about probably 8 or 9 years developing Autodesk Construction Cloud from the ground up. Not only does it combine the best features of both of those platforms, but they also made other acquisitions along the way, tools like ProS and Assemble, and have fully integrated them into the platform. The platform at the moment, Autodesk have a development team of over 1,200 people, I believe, and over 750 of those are dedicated to the development of the Autodesk Construction Cloud Platform. We see new features, functionality being released every 2 months. For those users that are in the environment, you'll see in the help files, there's a what's new section that breaks down all of those different releases. The average release is probably 70 to 80 new features, functions, workflows, and tools. So it is a platform that's moving ahead in leaps and bounds. But yeah, definitely a name change, or a name was definitely, a new name, new platform was definitely required. So it's way beyond what BIM 360 delivers. You've got all of the PlanGrid plus the other tools I mentioned. So yeah, definitely justified. Okay. All right, so the next question here is from Rahul. We're interested in sustainability. We know the environment is important, but we think it'll be a costly burden to our company. Interesting. Is this correct? And what do you generally see with the companies that you work with? Dot, I'll let you take that one if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Look, sustainability was for a long time considered a burden. It's another reporting that you need to do, another thing that you need to worry about, but it actually doesn't have to be costly. So usually the clients that I work with go through the sort of few stages of the sustainability pathway. We will probably first target things that simultaneously create the reduction of your operational costs and bring the sustainability benefits. So we can think about all of the solutions that are related to energy efficiency, optimization of your logistics, and so on. All of that create a reduction of your energy use, and then the fuels that you use as well. Now, once we have created those improvements and we start to see the operational cost starts to decrease, this is a time when an ambitious business could start reinvesting those funds into more ambitious projects. So this is when we start to invest in renewable energy sources or new equipment, or putting together any other sort of structures in place that will create a further emissions reduction and improve the overall sustainability of your business. So it doesn't have to be expensive. We do need to start somewhere. Probably the best way to start is to look for the operational efficiencies, thus cost reduction and emissions reduction in the same time. And where that's where the company would head in the after that will depend on the overall ambition and support from the leadership as well.
Awesome. Dot, I mean, we're kind of on time now. Do we have time for more questions, or should we wrap it up and we'll reach out to people and answer their questions?
Mike, there's one more question in the Q&A section from Max, and I think that's something that we could really take as the last one. It's a difficult one. But Max is asking, can ACC help with the embodied carbon calculation on the project models? And I think that's and then operational carbon as well. And I think it's a really nice intersection question between my field and your field. So Mike coming as an expert in ACC and myself coming into the play as a sustainability person helping you with those calculations. Now we are working on it. The platform is relatively new. There are some thoughts, and Mike, please correct me and stop me if I'm being wrong here, of embedding EC3, so the embodied carbon calculator into ACC, which is not done yet. But that's definitely on the roadmap. Now, as of now, we can work with the data that you embed, sorry, in the ACC in your cost sort of calculations and working with your invoices and purchasing to calculate the emissions of your operations and embodied carbon included. So in my sustainability world, we do talk about different scopes of emissions. The embodied emissions would fall under the scope 3 of your emissions. It's as of now, it's a combination of manual and digital work, but we are heading the wrong direction to implement it for our customers. Mike, can you please correct what I have just said?
I think you did pretty well, mate. Well done. Yeah, look, Autodesk, they're one of the funders of EC3 and TallyCat. I was attending the Autodesk Construction Cloud Roadshow a couple of weeks ago, which ran around Australia and New Zealand. One of their key points around their roadmap was enhancing sustainability capabilities within the platform. I mean, as you've already seen from what I showed you, the system already really helps to benefit sustainability in construction, but it is definitely something that is high on the priority list for Autodesk from a development perspective. So yeah, great tools already exist, but I think this is, the beginning of a really good thing for sustainability. Happy to keep you posted on the information, Max, as as we find out more about these sustainability developments. All right, guys, I am going to have to wrap things up now. Look, we're blown away. We were blown away by the number of registrations, and judging by the amount of people that have joined us in attendance, the numbers are fantastic. So thank you. We are interested in keeping conversations going with you. Please reach out to us via info@a2ktechnologies.com.au and schedule time to discuss how we can assist you with not only your sustainability journey, how we can assist you with digitization journey with Autodesk Construction Cloud, or any one of the other services we offer. Again, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us in this webinar, Winning the Bid for Sustainable Construction. Thank you.